Hello and welcome guys to another day of tutorial. Sorry I haven't been around trying to figure out some things, but now I am back. So the topic of our tutorial for today is how to calculate number of 9 inches blocks in a wall. Now all calculations will be done in millimeter or meter for this particular tutorial. So starting from the beginning, from number 1, you see the actual size of a 9-inch block. The actual size of a 9-inch block is 225 by 225 by 450 millimeter. Or 225 millimeter by 225 millimeter by 450 millimeter. So the length of the block is 450 millimeter. The width of the block is 225 millimeter, and the height of the block is 225 millimeter. Okay, so going on to the next phase, number 2, which is face area of one block. The visible face of the block is 450 millimeter by 225 millimeter, and this is what we use in calculating the number of blocks we are going to need. This is the part of the block which is most needed in this calculation we are about to do, which is calculation of the number of 9-inch blocks in a wall. Okay, so area of one block, which is the surface area, the area that is being exposed, is 450 by 225 millimeter, which is equal to 101,250 millimeter squared. So that is the area of one. Now we're going to calculate the area of the wall area. For the purposes of this class, the wall length is 8,000 millimeter, while the wall height is 2,400. So if the height is 2,400 millimeter, the length of the wall area is 8,000 millimeter. The wall area will be equals to 8,000 times 2,400, which is equal to 19,200,000 millimeter square. 19200,000 millimeter squared. Okay, so that is the wall area. Don't forget, area of one block is 101,250 millimeter squared, while area for the wall we want to calculate the number of blocks there. Area of the wall is 19,200,000 millimeter squared. So the formula for calculating number of blocks is equal to wall area divided by area of one block. I repeat, the formula for calculating the number of blocks in a wall is equal to wall area divided by area of one block. From our calculation, the wall area is 19,200,000, while area of one block is 101,250. So if you divide 19,200,000 by 101,250, you're going to get 189.63, which is an equivalent to 190 blocks. Okay, so that is how you calculate the number of blocks in a wall. Now the last part of this calculation is adding of wastage. When we talk about wastage, we're talking about blocks that went to waste as a result of cracks, etc. Okay, so we're going to use 5% to calculate the wastage. So if you do the math, you want to add 5% wastage. What you have is 190, which is the number of blocks we calculated, multiplied by 1.05. You're going to get 199.5, which is approximately 200 blocks. So don't forget, we use 5% addition, 5% of the blocks calculated. We're going to add 5% of it, okay, to get 199.5. And to do that, like I said earlier, do 190 times 1.05, which is equal to 199.5, which is approximately 200 blocks. Yeah, there are instances where a higher percentage of wastage is used in calculation. So for 5% is good, 5% is okay for calculation. Some may use 10%. 5% is also okay for this calculation. So summary for 9-inch block without mortar joint. Now it's important to take note that all these calculations we did are being calculated without the knowledge of the mortar joint being in the equation. Okay, so block size, like I mentioned earlier, is 450 millimeter by 225 millimeter by 225 millimeter. Face of block is 450 millimeter by 225 millimeter. Area of one block is 101,250 millimeter squared. Now blocks per meter squared of wall. Blocks that are occupied in a meter squared of wall is 1 million divided by 101,250, which is equal to 9.88 blocks per meter squared, which is approximately 10 blocks per meter squared. Rule of thumb, use 10 blocks per meter squared of a wall. To reiterate what we mentioned earlier, the formula for calculating number of blocks is wall length times wall height divided by block length times block height. Okay. Note, with 10 millimeter mortar joint, nominal size including mortar joint. Now if we are to include a mortar joint, we are going to have the length of the block being, instead of being 450, it will now be 450 plus 10 millimeter, which is 460 millimeter for the height of the block. That is if we were to add a mortar joint. While for the height of the block, you have 225 plus 10, which is 235 millimeter. So if we are to add a 10 millimeter mortar joint, we are going to have 460 millimeter by 235 millimeter. In that case, area of one block will now be 460 by 235, which is equal to 108 100 millimeter squared. So if we are to add a 10 millimeter mortar joint, blocks per meter squared will now be 1 million divided by 108,100, which will be equal to 9.25 blocks per meter squared. That is with 10 millimeter mortar joint added. For estimating, use 9 to 10 blocks per meter squared. Okay, so a little tips before we close for today. Number one, always deduct areas of doors, windows, and other openings from the wall area. We are going to be treating this in our next class. We're going to be treating walls that contain windows and doors or any sort of openings. We're going to treat how you're going to calculate those blocks with these windows and doors present. The second tip is add 5% to 10% for breakage, cutting, and spares. Like we mentioned earlier, we use 5% addition. So, but you can use 5% to 10% for breakage. Factor for breakage, cuttings, and spares. Okay. The third one is calculations are based on straight walls only. Curved, complex walls may require more blocks. Okay, so everything we did here is based on a straight wall. A straight wall was calculated. Okay, so that will be all for today on the topic that says calculation of the number of 9 inches block in a wall. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the video, kindly drop a comment, drop a like, and for those who haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly do so that you can get updates as we release them on a regular basis this time. Okay, that will be all for today. Thanks for watching once again. See you in the next class.